Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. We're gonna try out the Fire Nobody Started, which is a game that came out, I think, a year ago. And by a year ago, maybe in February of this year. As you can see, it's a very stylistic click and pointer. Also, Cthulhu is giving me ASMR in the ears, so that's happening. A click makes you focus. A second one will initiate the conversation, okay? A customer, finally, yes. You came to board the train, right? You indeed came to board the train. You came to board the train, right? You indeed came to board the train. There's no way to think otherwise. You must board the train. Take the ticket. Okay, take this. The train will soon depart, even if you hope not. Who's this person? You cannot talk to an item. This is not an item, alright? Don't objectify the tree girl. You can, as you can see, drag the ticket on the left below to the station manager. Alright. The door is empty. An empty door will not open no matter how much you try to talk to. Find something to fill in the blank. Okay, I think I need to give you that. Send my regards to the driver. That I will do visit them again someday. Okay. Okay, we got a door. Can we get out of Whisper City? I've never been so grateful to hear Claire de Lune. A screw is missing. Snores. Handmade goods become a romance which nobody sought to pay for. Confound it all, what is to become of me now? In the whole of York, there was none whose needle darted through the fabric as swiftly as mine. I provided the finest clothes in the borough, that everyone sought eagerly to procure from my shop. Yet those halcyon days are now merely a recollection. The flood of cotton from the Indies and the inexorable advance of mill-made cloth have brought my life's endeavor to naught. Providence allowed me just enough favor to liquidate the last of my inventory, and now here I stand en route to London. Damnable destiny, am I now to be demoted to laboring within the gloomy depths of a mill? Word has it that London teems with workers, and I dread that the recompense there will hardly reflect the craftsmanship of my hands. It's Claire de Lune, like, gives such melancholy to anything. Like, it would, like, this person losing their factory and having to work in the mines would be sad, but the fact that Claire de Lune is playing in the background just makes it 10 times sadder. Indeed, we're living a better life. Your head is an egg. Indeed, the ghost of famine no longer casts its shadow over us as menacingly as it once did. Yet curiously, our condition seems barely ameliorated. The master of the mill heralds that with the prosperity of the factory, our earnings too shall rise, keeping the bite of starvation at bay. Despite the unending din of machinery and the looms that never rest, our purses remain as insubstantial as ever. That's what they say, man. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I put egg on my face on company time. Why then do our earnings languish as though shackled to the earth? Why does the spectre of want still linger at our thresholds? Are we merely pursuing a ghost? Alas, the grumble of my own belly confirms the veracity of my complaint. I am starved. Been there, brother. When the morning light breaks, I can well enough do new day's dawn, but for me, it's not but the onset of another day in purgatory. Lost in the din of machinery, my thoughts are drowned by the ceaseless clatter, and with each day my bones feel all the heavier. What's to be done with the scant pennies I grip tight in my hand? Not nearly enough to keep my kin fed, and the simple wish for a moment's peace has turned into a dream beyond reach. No ear lent, no matter how we plead for a morsel of kindness. All that's before us is the relentless demand to work harder and faster. Have we come to the point where we are not but gears in their machines? Nay, long since we become the gears themselves. Just the other day I breathed out into the factory, and steam poured from my mouth like that from a locomotive. Not long ago, in a silent room with surely no one around, I heard the turning of gears for a good while before realizing it was the sound from within my own head. And just earlier, when I stood up for a moment, there were a few screws lying on the seat. No, that can't be right. A man's still a man, ain't he? Must have been something that fell from the seat itself. Or perhaps someone laden with screws had sat here before. Well, what's the use in fretting over it? You might as well take it. You might as well take it. Oh, I got a screw! Sticky with grease. White steam and screws lying around. An era where mankind's value is measured monetarily. When them heaps of iron first clattered into our yard. By the way, I don't know what kind of accent that was. Like something about seeing the first like accented words, colloquial words. I don't know if that's even a word. The gear man said just unlocked that accent inside of me, and it just poured forth. Now it might be the worst accent of that nationality ever, but I couldn't stop it. When them heaps of iron first clattered into our yard, I reckon they were more bother than boon. But now, blow me down if they ain't outstripping me in the work. Steady and relentless like, are you coming on to me? My mate works down to the other factory. He tells me they've cut loose half the hands here. Got me pondering, what's to become of us lot? Okay, maybe oh, you need a screw. And you seem to be some sort of I've seen this machine before. These are pistons, right? But what are they for? Beg pardon, sir? Must have nodded off. I did. Pleased to meet you. The thought of riding a train kept me up last night. Looks like you've been on loads of trains, eh? You wanna fight? Blimey, it's me first time today, and I'm all aflutter. Always just got the rumbling over the bridge. I did, but to be aboard, pure marvel it is. Mind, it's a bit of a wrench leaving me, folks. I can't do that voice anymore. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that it's offensive to someone. Me mum did, but look at the way he's talking. Me mum decided to park me with me aunt in London for a spell. That's why I'm on this iron horse. Still, I hear London's got its fair share of tasty grub, and living there's got to be a step up from here. Oh, new people. Oh, yo, this guy's the coolest guy at the Halloween factory. And by factory, I mean party. It smells of gas, yet the fire has not been ignited. He wishes to talk further, but lacks subject. I should have introduced this game a bit better. This game seems to be kind of set in kind of a Snowpiercer allegory sort of way, where the train is an allegory for the classes of society. So this first train seems to be workers and lower class people. And I'm guessing it's going to become more and more colorful as we go on. So that's why it's like we didn't start the fire, right? The fire of humankind, I think. Oh, I'm sorry, do you have anything in mind? I was like being stuck idle like this. No, nothing worthy of concern, sorry. Alright. My man sweats as he shudders despite being seated on a chair. Hey, when you turn 40, life starts catching up to you. Pardon me, might you possess any bread? I beg your indulgence for such an imposition, but might I trouble you for a morsel? Another one, please, sir. For several days, my sustenance has been naught but tea leaves, and I find myself in dire need of something solid to gnaw on. You have none? Blimey. For this, take it yourself. I can't hold it any longer without vomiting my guts. What the... A tea residue of low quality makes you feel a bit energetic when you chew it. I'm not gonna chew. That was in his head. Awful smell fills the air. Oh, it's matches, but they're actually bones. Pray, good sir or madam, might you be in need of a match? Just one tiny match? Any small kindness would be a boon, be it bread or a farthing or merely a sip of tea. I'd be most willing to exchange a match for whatever you might spare. Well, lucky you, lady. I do have some gross, rotten tea. Despair then agony, the sadness then despair, emptiness then sadness. How is he supposed to live from now on? Despair then agony. Is this supposed to be a then with an E? Excuse me. Never clapped eyes on a man stripped of his fingers before? Never played never played Russian roulette with your life on the line? Once your hands are no good, they cast you off like yesterday's rubbish, they do. Man, that's true. Here, have this tea. Oh, bless you for your generosity. There's a dreadful mishap at the mill, and they've dismissed me. Now all I possess are these matches. My visage was marred during the misfortune, and now it seems folks are loath to offer aid. I'm boundlessly thankful to you, truly. Oh. The common end for girls fired from match factories. The only compensation for rotten jaw are a basket full of matches. Well, that's sad. Here, take that fire. Seems the boy recalled something. Bit of gossip. Oh no, what? You know what they say. If you can't say something nice, keep it to yourself. Did you catch wind of it? Down our way, a doctor went and cut off the local pump, and just like that, cholera up and vanished. Can you credit that? No fetching water's a right hassle now. Got to thinking whilst toiling away, London's brimming with jollies, ain't it? Back in Birmingham, I'd make sport finding all knotted threads and sorting them out amongst the big clanking gears. Then them grown-ups call it a weaving machine, I reckon. On days I found a heap, the factory boss would slip me a bit extra sweet, so I was always on the hunt. Wish I could muck about in factories too in London, watching trains and all. Blimey, just remembered I forgot to hand back this punched card. If you ever find yourself back in Birmingham, could you do me a solid and return this card to the factory? I'd be ever so grateful. A punch card used for weaving machines records the pattern of the fabric. Yo, you're a moist baguette? In years gone by, a wicked shift in the weather would send shivers through one's soul. Should storm or pestilence ravage our crops, we'd meet the winter and spring with naught but to hold us but the harsh clasp of starvation. Yet in these present times, such dread has started to diminish. Though our meals may frequently consist of merely coarse rye bread and the most bitter of teas, we find ourselves shielded from the ghost of famine, even in the leanest of seasons. A small step ahead, would you not say? Wait till you start fighting for water, lady. It's time to proceed. A short while later, the boy's parents died in a factory accident. Left to survive on his own, he continued his life as an orphan for many years. The land of opportunity the sailor spoke of had been the boy's hope, but within a day of arriving on Ellis Island, he saw life here was little different from London. He scraped by as a shoe shiner and factory worker. Fortunately, it wasn't long before a real opportunity found him. The boy befriended a wealthy gold mine investor and used his shoe shine savings to buy cheap land on the western outskirts. And just a few months later, gold was discovered on the land he'd bought. He became rich overnight purely by luck. Well, that's good. It's been a long time, traveler. Blimey, you lost your head! Ah, yes, you exactly. Have we met before by any chance? You seem familiar. Still, I can't quite place it. But now that we're here, would you care to keep me company for a spell? It's dreadfully dull sitting here alone. So do you play chess? How about a game against me? It's simple, the one who takes something of greater value wins the game. No, sometimes you sacrifice your queen. Something more valuable than a person. Well, I mean, the knight is more valuable, right? The train's oh, that's describing him, right? The train's cabin is divided into classes. They decide the passenger's class. Did you witness that incident earlier? A fellow quite out of his element found himself at the threshold of a first-class carriage, seemingly oblivious to the distinctions of our society. Can you envision my astonishment when the conductor, upholding the proprieties of our travel, promptly reminded him of his place? A sight indeed. Yeah, get the pores out of here. Those barbarians are invading our land. Some hail the western frontier as a realm of boundless prospects. Tales abound of lands rich as any treasure, where through mere toil a man might carve his fortune from the earth. Yet my own feet were not so eager to tread that path. They speak of the journey there, cursed by the formidable Rockies and marred by skirmishes from the native tribes. And beyond the reaches of civilization, where the badge of law is scarce, it's the rare marshal who keeps semblance of order in that wild expanse. Blast it, were it not for the business, the thought of venturing to such a distant land would scarcely have crossed my mind. Once, people cultivated the land. Now it is vacant with nothing but a sheepkeeper and their dog. Ladies and gentlemen of the esteemed company, allow me the honor of sharing with you a tale of my latest equine acquisition. Yo, you know this guy's playing Uma Musume on the down low. This is not merely any steed, but a creature of the purest lineage, a thoroughbred, unsullied by any inferior strain. Indeed, one might jest that its pedigree boasts a purity surpassing that of many amongst our own noble ranks. This splendid beast is destined to grace the verdant expanses of Yorkshire, serving as a living testament to our God-given mandate over the land, its creatures, and the very forces of nature. Oh! Pure blood. Pure blood indeed is an important one. Sun was a luxury in Whitechapel where I grew up, but I was and am always proud of the fact I am the purest subject of the British Empire. Now, within the grand expanse of our empire, the sun perpetually shines. Do grasp the significance of this marvel. From the dark depths of Africa to the vibrant heart of India, from the rugged landscapes of Australia to the vast expanses of Canada. Oh, Canada, commerce knows no bound. All the wealth and glory belongs to the empire, and the basis of such destiny is the natural diligence and passion of Her Majesty's subjects. Thus, such luxury is a manifest holding for Britons, and for Britons only. The great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me. Have you ever pondered the nature of the divine? Yeah, buddy. Once after Friday night, after long days of work, that's all I do, man. Coffee break? Not merely as an abstract tenet of faith, but as a tangible presence within our lives. As a youth, amidst the fear of thunderstorms, I would clutch a cross. I was convinced that our atheism, clamoring to take this guy down right now, I was convinced that the tumultuous skies were a divine retribution for our earthly transgressions. Such events led me to wonder if we were on the cusp of another biblical deluge, destined to purify the earth anew. Yet, with the passage of time, such fears have abated. Not solely due to the resilience of age against the elements, but also because of a profound shift in my understanding. During my collegiate years, I encountered a tome, Philosophiae Naturalis Principia Mathematica, a name perhaps familiar to you, but I've never heard of it. I'm not a nerd. I don't know about Isaac Newton or anything. This work dared to frame the Almighty within the bounds of mathematical discourse. It presented truth in the universal language of mathematics, dissecting the natural world as if it were a grand, intricate automaton. Through the prism of mathematical certainty, the universe appeared as a vast, meticulously engineered mechanism. With its secrets once unraveled, we could not only forecast its motions, but grant us the power to replicate its majesty. Doesn't it surprise you? Who has come nearer to God than he? And here we stand, the inheritors of such wisdom, poised to ascend the heights hitherto reserved for the divine. A ship sailing against the current, a heart made of steam and fire. Oh god. I couldn't help but overhear the young gentleman's discourse on equine matters earlier. Horses indeed possess a certain nostalgic allure, yet they somehow belong to a bygone era, don't you think? You would have no idea how much they've made a comeback in the past month or so. I myself have ventured into the future with the acquisition of a Daimler motor car. Perhaps you're unfamiliar with such a marvel? This contraption, a feat of engineering, necessitates neither pasture nor stable and surpasses any horse in speed and precision. Is a Daimler like the first car? It represents the pinnacle of craftsmanship within our great empire. To describe it as merely a vehicle would be to do it a great disservice. The thunderous bellow of its engine symbolizes not just advancement, but the undeniable superiority of technology, heralding the relentless march of progress. Thank you for your rook. It is confidently believed that our system may be safely extended to the utmost bounds of our territorial limits. Okay. I'll have a martini. A James martini. The dwindling of the bison herds has steered more than just concern among us. With their main source of sustenance scarce, the wolves grow bolder by the day. While quinine serves its purpose, the situation may well demand an increased supply of strychnine. And yet it's not just the wolves that find themselves at the mercy of these changing tides. The native tribes too, reliant as they are on the bison, seem to be feeling the pangs of deprivation. What did the buffalo say? What did the buffalo dad say to his son on the first day of school? That's right. See you later, son. Both the wildlife and the tribes face the dire consequences of these shifts in the balance of nature. Left to the course set by these changes, starvation looms as a grim possibility for them. Okay, here. You're the... Technology is indeed important. Common folks are unaware of this fact. Technology is important in doing business too. The key to our triumph, you must understand, lies in winning over the native populations. A task, I assure you, far simpler than one might presume. Their simplicity lends them a certain gratitude for the mere basics enough to maintain order. And do you know the most effective method to ensure their compliance? Employ the children. It requires no monetary expenditure, merely distribute some trifling baubles and sweets, along with hollow assurances of the joy found in laborious tasks, and they will be utterly at your command. There are instances of the occasional miscreant becoming entangled with the machinery, but such losses are inconsequential, for they are according to the Almighty's grand design. Who is the rightful owner of this necklace? The true emblem of wealth and status does not lie in seeds nor in mechanical contrivance, but rather it gracefully adorns my neck. Behold, a necklace of unparalleled magnificence, adorned with diamonds and rubies plucked from the farthest reaches of our glorious empire. What more testament could there be to our position in the world than that I, who can't even dare to be compared to Her Majesty, should be adorned with such an exquisite artifact? This necklace is not merely an accessory. It is a tangible representation of our imperial endeavor, a symbol of our mandate to lead and to bring civilization to the corners of the earth. Oh God! Now all she is a necklace, a marvel of glass and steel. My return from the great exhibition has left me utterly spellbound, an experience I shall cherish forever. The Crystal Palace, a marvel of glass and iron, stood as a monumental testament to the pinnacle of human creativity and industrial achievement. This was no mere gathering, it was a grand celebration, a declaration of our unmatched ascendancy in culture, science, and industry to the entire globe. Our neighbors across the channel may hold their La Vie Lumière in high esteem, but the brilliance of our achievement has surely eclipsed even their beloved city of light. What a triumph it has been! We have conquered the accent. We have manifest destiny to lead you to the light. Then they open fire. Have you ever ventured beyond the confines of this train, to truly gaze upon those who dwell without? Such pitiful creatures they are, engaged in the worship of gods as chaotic and untamed as the wilds from which they hail, their rites steeped in bloodshed. They languish in the depths of savagery, their eyes yet unopened to the luminous path of civilization. As one anointed by the Christian duty and the mantle of enlightenment, I oft find myself burdened with the sacred obligation to shepherd them from darkness, to illuminate their world, to guide their steps, to educate them in the worship of the one true God. Is this not the divine mandate upon which we are sent forth? Here. Did I talk to you already? Power over one's own life, destiny. On the subject of progeny, have I mentioned mine? I'm cultivating in them the markings of true gentlemen and ladies, individuals of education and integrity, deserving of a fate far superior to the squalor visible beyond this window. It is the robust and capable who are entitled to ascendancy. This principle forms the backbone of our empire, the very essence of our prosperity. I'm resolved to instill this ethos in my offspring, to ensure they emerge victorious in life's endeavors. Our youngest, particularly gifted, is destined for the scholarly pursuits of a boarding school, and subsequently a collegiate education, perhaps to emerge as a professor or even an MP. My attention must now revert to my commercial enterprises. After all, our endeavors serve not solely our own interests, but the advancement of the empire and mankind at large. We, the endowed, must not squander precious moments on frivolous conversation. And before I take my leave, your victory in our chess engagement has not escaped my notice. Here are your earnings as agreed. It has indeed been a most agreeable diversion. What did he give me? A symbol of wealth, gold refined by blood. Is it rebellion? Is it revolution? Some may call our work cruel. Remember, progress demands sacrifice. Where have all the people gone? They have decimated the bison, the very foundation of our sustenance, and deny us the means to feed our children, seeking to extinguish us through starvation. When we rise in anger, their response is steeped in cruelty, sparing not even the most innocent among us. These usurpers have trespassed upon our sacred lands, forcing our women to take up arms, a testament to their vile intentions. Now the very soil of our ancestors cries out in shame at our perceived impotence. In the relentless roar of the wind, I discern the voices of our forebears chiding us, their lamentations descending from the heavens like weeping rain. Curse those who have wrought such devastation upon us, who have violated the sanctity of our lands, dishonored our women, and turned our noble dead into mere dust. Let this be the call to arms, to reclaim what is rightfully ours, to wash away this indignity with their blood. It is time to expel these intruders, to restore the honor of our people. For this solely. Keep proceeding ahead. The children of the rich were wealthy, but they found no richness in their hearts. The eldest, who inherited the family business following his father's wishes, sought pleasure in reckless pursuits, finding no meaning in life. The second, forced to marry a man she didn't love to align with her father's will, suffered from loneliness in her entire life. The third, who wanted to paint but couldn't overcome his father's opposition, died with a bottle in his hand. And the youngest, the brightest of them all, chose a path unlike anyone in his family. An era comes to an end, and a new one dawns over the horizon. Even the queen is immortal, and we're destined to watch this new dawn. Still, the world seems to remain the same. Life may have changed a little for the better or for the worse, but they're all within the expected deviation in the macroscopic graph of time. They say the train is still moving forward. Ooh. A screw is missing. A hideous person rather than an elegant doll. Freedom, it is oft said, is watered with the tears of the oppressed, is it not? But pray, who do I broach such grave... Excuse me. But pray, why do I broach such grave matters now? I was newly liberated from the jail. Oop, I accidentally bumped the mic. Oh, fear not, I've perpetrated no violence. My crime was but to chain myself to the gates of the parliament, an act for which I was detained. Oop. Give me a second. Hopefully that doesn't, like, peak the mic there. Indeed, a minor altercation ensued. Why, and why, you ask? For the simple reason that the genteel discourse and penned grievances go unnoticed. It falls upon us, the enlightened, to rouse this nation from its slumber, to face our collective duplicity head-on. In a realm that proclaims we never, never, never shall be slaves. I'm never, ever, ever getting back together. Can we justly muzzle the voices of half its populace? Some may say our actions are not ladylike, and the others may call it treason. Why use such extreme measures, some ask? Could we not use a more graceful approach? Extreme measures, ha! An unradical fight is but a fantasy. Without radicalism, the world does not heed our voices. Graceful means? If grace means remaining beautifully displayed within a controlled system, then we willingly choose vulgarity. To exist not as graceful ladies, but as citizens, actions over words. Coffee break real quick. So it starts off from the industrialization. Then it goes into the New World, and then nobles, right? They ended the bison, and then after that, people started protesting, right? I think it was at the end of like the Gilded Age or so. Like for example, like women's suffrage and stuff like that. Tiny minuscule things inside a giant machine. The story begins the day the young man was a little boy, the day he visited one of his father's factories. What did he expect? Behemoths of steel, called machine perhaps? His father too, just like any other entrepreneur, praised the machines, not the workers whose blood and sweat were fueling the steel giants. By the way, I can never pronounce entrepreneur, right? I hear how it's supposed to be said, right? But my mouth just can't form the words. Entrepreneur, right? It sounds like I'm saying manure. But what the boy discovered that day was not the greatness of technology, but the expressions of the workers, dark as the coal they were feeding. When he asked his father what part they played, he replied there was no need to know, since they were nothing but tiny screws in the grand machine of the universe. But again, no machine can exist without its screws. Luxury must be comfortable, otherwise it is not a luxury. What are you looking at? Mind your own business. Sorry, it's the pain that annoyed me, not you, of course. My sincerest apologies. It's the new corset. Truly, words fall short of conveying the sheer discomfort wrought by it. The older one was discomfortable enough, yet this one is even worse. When I was a girl, I admired how elegant it made me look. Now I long for a day I can throw it away. A designer of my acquaintance recently spoke of crafting attire that marries form with function and comfort with style. Though the notion was met with derision in the public sphere, I harbor a clandestine hope for its triumph. Oh, how fervently I wish to cast aside this detestable corset. Yeah, Yasker, let them torsos free. Okay, give the screw to this person. Everything's in place like a clockwork. Oh, my sincerest apologies. Must have nodded off. I did. I spent last night writing a text. Seemed easy at first, ended up in a flood of thoughts. Wonder what it is about. It is about my father and my shame. I admit that it would sound nonsensical for a gentleman in suits dare ramble about shame, and I can't deny such accusations. That is, however, my shame. That I grew up knowing nothing about the shame of this world. My father owned some factories in the area and some businesses in the New World. People call him a model citizen, a symbol of the empire's diligence. To my father, individuals scarcely amount to more than cogs in his grand machinery of wealth accumulation, valued less than the merest trifle. In his quest for affluence, My father has eschewed the very essence of humanity, favoring profit over people, inflicting untold harm, perhaps even costing lives. I am loath to tread the same path. The toll exacted by such wealth is exorbitant. I refuse to forfeit my humanity for the monetary gain. Let's go, he's a hero. Based. He believes the world is complete as it is. Of late, it appears as though every soul is taken to voicing their claims, asserting what they believe to be their inalienable rights. The working classes clamor for improved conditions, whilst women advocate for suffrage. Yet upon closer reflection, one might question the necessity of such demands. The notion of woman at the polls, could it be merely a bid for the attention of their male counterparts? Pray, do not misapprehend my stance. My respect for their fairer sex is unwavering, and I have always lent an ear to their pleas and propositions. Are nice guys TM? However, this suffrage movement, might I be so bold as to suggest that a majority of women find themselves quite content under the protective embrace and providence. The issue of rights, as raised by a vocal few, seem to be a mere illusion of victimhood. Our society in its present state adequately acknowledges and caters to the needs and aspirations of women. The legitimacy of these escalating demands is, therefore, subject to debate. One cannot help but suspect that there are those who stand to gain from the upheaval of these movements. Where money exchanges hands, sincerity often falters. Excuse me. In the end, it all boils down to a convoluted tangle of finance and influence, a game of monetary and political chess, if you will. Alright. Yeah, sure, buddy. The absolute universe began to shatter. Heavens above, he's accomplished it. Cast your eyes upon this document. We stand on the cusp of a paradigm shift in the very fabric of understanding. Curious as to its contents? It is a thesis penned by an acquaintance from my tenure at the University of Zurich. Imagine, if you will, the very concepts of time and space, not rigid and immutable, but fluid, capable of contraction and expansion. Is the notion not utterly enthralling? Yet this transcends mere intellectual amusement. It challenges the hitherto unassailable doctrine of space-time's constancy. Albert Einstein. Mark my words, this name shall be etched in the annals of history, heralding an era of unprecedented scientific enlightenment. Our boy became an adolescent, a teenager, however you would call him. What matters is that he is still far from his adulthood. His father often called him to the office, explaining his enterprises on the map. On the center of the map was London. The father often preached how he explores resources from peripheries of the world, feeding them to the core and innovating the world. Months later, our boy found a globe in the university library. The globe, the reality, was different from his father's map. On the globe, Africa and Asia were huge beyond his imagination, and Europe was so tiny and minuscule. Most importantly, there was no core on the globe. Days later, he purchased a similar version of the globe to hold on to when he couldn't focus on academics. To imagine the weight of the world, to remember how small the land he's standing on is. Oh god. Oh, and I see, because this person... How many lands and countries do we know by the roughest images? I've spoken too much to a stranger. And then, yeah, I talked to you. Let's talk to this person. Have you caught wind of the latest marvel? The Wright brothers have triumphed over the heavens themselves. To think that mankind has taken to the air, defying the very bounds of earth and sea. The expanse of the globe now lies open beneath our feet. Is it not a wonder to behold the limits of our imagination have been cast aside and now the sky beckons? Imagine, if you will, a day when all of humanity might glide through the heavens. The map in our mind is distorted. The university has been an eye-opener. It teaches one a great deal, above all that the true genesis of conflict is not territorial but societal. I'm pretty sure that at one point in history, like humankind history, conflict was territorial. But definitely nowadays, it is definitely more societal. Now, I mean, there are some countries, I'm not gonna say their name, but they do rhyme with Usha, that are fighting for what seems like territorial reasons, aka no reason at all, but usually it's like some sort of class or societal thing that leads to conflict nowadays amongst developed countries, right? It might be different in other places. Encased within national boundaries, one cannot fully grasp or address this matter. Indeed, the plight of laborers in London mirrors that of their counterparts in Birmingham, Manchester, across the Channel in France, and even in Germany. They all toil under the yoke of capitalist exploitation, a universal affliction. To be cognizant of such injustices and feign ignorance is indefensible. Action is imperative naturally. A political upheaval and international camaraderie are essential to dismantle this inequity and secure genuine emancipation. The proletariat, the downtrodden, must band together beyond frontiers to overturn this oppressive regime. Ideas are like inks. They can blacken the paper but cannot solely become a text. The boy became a young adult. Mind that he is still young, he still needed something. After encountering new perspectives at the university, he grew up endlessly, but knowledge was ideas only, he thought. He still couldn't grasp where to go. During a vacation, he briefly broke contact with the family under the disguise of studying abroad. In reality, he began working at a factory. Perhaps the memoirs of the childhood day motivated such a decision. Knowledges are waved with realities into convictions, and convictions guide people. Whether he intended it or not, the realities of the factory weaved this fractured knowledge into a fabric. Working with a hammer, he concluded that the world is crafted by sickle and hammer. His turmoil was finally cleared. Upon deciding what to do, he left the factory with a nib he crafted with his own hands. When the nib contacted the paper, the boy finally became a man. I was gonna say, like, I was in the back of my mind, I'm like, this seems to be kind of like talking about the rise of communism, and then I'm pretty sure that's like the, if not a fictionalized history, a history of some kind of Marx. That's kind of funny. Ideas only change nothing. Yo, he's got the JJK outfit. Yo, Yuji. They are the reason we can remember how to be outraged. Do you too reckon those standing up for our rights are merely casting their efforts into the wind? I've come across folks who sneer, claiming it's all a futile endeavor, convinced the world is doomed to remain as it is. Then there are those who dare to ask what authority anyone has to critique the state of affairs, pointing fingers when they themselves are far from blameless. But think on it. Had it not been for those brave enough to voice their discontent, many of us would still be groping in the dark, without ever knowing where to cast the blame. Forgive me, I got something lost in writing there. It's a curious sight, isn't it? A man grimed with the day's toil, yet clutching with a pencil and paper as if they were keys to another world. Ah, but I jest. Not so long ago, my ambitions were as simple as wanting to see my name penned by my own hand. A humble wish, you might say. A fellow laborer, a young student who shared my shifts at the mill, taught me the letters. Over time, he wove peculiar tales for me. These stories lingered, mulling over them in the quiet of the night. Only yesterday, he brought his narratives to a close, and it was as though scales fell from my eyes. He spoke of a society built on the bedrock of efficiency, a relentless march towards rationality governed by bureaucracy. But in this grand design, what place is there for the likes of us? I've lived, if one could call it a living, akin to an automaton, enacting the same motions, a diminutive gear amidst the colossus of the factory floor. The love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. To be seen as merely as a unit of labor, a variable in an equation of productivity, this realization is suffocating. I stand ensnared in an iron cage, a prisoner ensconced within bars I only now perceive. Where to from here? The confines... It's to the stage! You can find all your dreams in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure you won't be exploited. No, you won't. The confines of this cage seem absolute. Its escape routes as illusory as freedom itself, perhaps leading only to the grave. Could such a fortress of desolation ever crumble? Smog? Is there hope for liberation for one as insignificant as I? I ponder these questions every night. Yet in the shadows of these towering steel bars, I feel diminished, nearly vanished. I am nothing but a tiny dust in the world. Only actions can bring difference. My father may be ensnared by his own wealth and influence, but I discern the underlying truth. The opulence and ease he enjoys are mere facades, bought at the expense of the laboring masses' sweat and tears. The paradigm is untenable. It must not persist. We are duty-bound to forge a new world, where every soul is accorded dignity, not merely seen as expendable components. Workers of the world unite. This is not merely a rallying cry, but a call to action. We must collectively strive for a new world order, where liberty, equality, and justice transcend lofty ideals to become the very fabric of our existence. This is the life we all deserve, and for this cause I will dedicate myself. Oh, would you be so kind as to peruse this pamphlet? Sharing its message would be immensely appreciated. Sincere thanks for listening. Okay, I will come back to this game, because I do think it's interesting. Sadly, I wish I could cast off my earthly needs for work and etc., but I'm actually have some work to do. But it's interesting, right? I don't know how far into the future we go. Because at this point we're kind of at the turn of the 20th century. Is the turn of the 20th century, is that the beginning of the 20th century, or is that the end of the 20th century? I never actually thought of that. I just heard that phrase and never really wondered if whether it was the beginning or the end. I want to know how far we get into it. Because this is interesting, and like I love the art style. Now, I mean, whether you agree with like the politics or not, I mean, that's up to you. I am enjoying the game so far. The visual novel, I should say, and I am gonna come back to it. But like I said, alas, I cannot stay here for too long. If you made it this far, I appreciate it. Remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.